So thank you all for joining us today for our March 2025 NUG community call. My name is Charles Lively, and I'm a science engagement engineer here at NURSE. On this community call, we have two topics that are going to be important and pertinent for all of our users. So we have two NURSE staff members that will be presenting to you all today. Woo-san is a member of the user engagement group, and he is an HPC consultant. And he will be presenting first on SSH proxy for SSH passwordless login, now supported by federated ID. And then we also have Nicholas Tyler, who is also a NURSE HPC consultant and performance engineer in our data analytics group, and he'll be presenting on using ThinLink. So if everything is okay to proceed, Woo-san, we can go ahead and start with your presentation first, and you should be able to share your screen.
All right, thank you very much. Let me just share this on here.
Okay.
So hi, everyone. My name is Woo-san Yang, and I'm in the user engagement group today. And today I'm going to talk about the SSH proxy, new version of SSH proxy clients, which is used for SSH passwordless login. The new version that supports a federated ID. So before we do that, we kind of review some concepts here. First, the MFA. So we all know that the MFA is strictly enforced by NERSC. So if you want to connect to NERSC resources, you have to enter two factors. One being the password, the other is a 6-digit one-time password, OTP. So it's like in this example, SSH to palmara.nurse.gov, you have to enter your password here and OTP. And if you have to type password and OTP every time you establish the SSH, this can be really tedious, and you can get really tired, from typing everything here. So we provide a tool called SSH proxy. What it does is it can make you have passwordless SSH sessions. So what it does is when you run this tool, you get SSH keys from NERSC, and for that you'll have to do MFA. Basically, you have to authenticate with your username and the login ID, password and OTP here, just like here. Password. Sorry, let me just bring this one over like that. And then it'll generate the three files, the private key and the public key and the certificate. Certificate includes the information about how long these keys are valid. So using these keys, you can connect to Perlmutter like that by specifying that I'm going to use these SSH keys as for authentication. If you do that, you are in. So you don't have to type password and OTP. And the key authentication, SSH key authentication, is supported by many tools like ThinLink, VS Code, and many tools. So I believe that many of you must already have been using the SSH proxy here. So let's go to the next page. I'm sorry. So again, the command is a little bit long. SSH command. So you can actually shorten the command by setting the configuration in this file, that /config file, on your laptop or desktop on your local machine. So you should at least have this first part. So this is for passwordless connection to a login node. What it says that I'm going to use the SSH keys named like that for authentication, and I'm going to use identities only. And the forward agent is to help you in case that you connect to a third party from Perlmutter. For instance, if you want to connect to the GitHub, maybe on your laptop you can create the key pair, your own key pairs, the private and the public key, and then you put the public key on the GitHub server, and you use the kind of this SSH connection basically using that. So the easy way is to actually to delegate this authentication to what they call the SSH agent. You save the private key into agent, and so that you don't have to type anything. You just it is all handled by the SSH agent. You can forward the agent to Perlmutter if you connect to Perlmutter like that. So this line is for that. So you can directly connect to the GitHub from the Perlmutter without typing anything. The last line, the second block is taken from the our VS Code webpage prepared by NUG, the next speaker. So what it does is it is to connect to the compute node, So the compute name host is starts with NID, node ID, and the 6 digits here. So we put the wildcard question mark here, each denoting a single character. So if you SSH to need something like that, you want to use this same the private key, SSH keys, and you don't want to check the host key. What it does is it first checks whether that this host ID is in the SSH's known host file. Since the compute nodes are huge, maybe thousands, so you don't want to whenever you get the compute node, that you will probably get a new compute node, so that they may not be in the known host file. So you have to say no, and you can connect to the compute node through the login node. So proxy jump, you like that, you say like that. So anyway, this second part is to connect to the compute node for passwordless connection to use, for instance, VS Code on compute node, for example. So with this setting in this file, then the SSH command can be simpler, and it can be more powerful. So the command you can type is sh perlmutter_gov. And the third concept is federated ID. So to use NERSC web services, you have to authenticate with NERSC ID, right? But with now we enable the federated ID. What it means that you can use your home institution's login identity to log into a NERSC web service. What it does is that when you, as you've shown here, because I'm the LBNL employee, this is the first is to use the NERSC identity, NERSC username, password, OTP there. And the second authenticate, I can use my home institution, Lawrence Berkeley National Lab, and I can log in through using the LBNL identity, right? So for instance, if you are at the Oak Ridge, you can click it and find the Oak Ridge here, and then you can log in like that. So what it does is when you click, it actually can forward to the identity provider of your organization. So if you successfully authenticate there, then it is forwarded back to the NERSC web services, and because you are successfully authenticated. So currently we are in the second phase. So the federated ID only works with some DOE institutions, not all of them. So version 2 is here. So SSH proxy version 2 is here. So main thing is that this one supports federated ID. So you can basically using your home institution's identity using -new flag -f here. So one good thing is that since you authenticate through the web browser, if you have a password manager, you can pre-fill password and OTP in the web browser. So it can be more convenient to authenticate. And last week, we released the version 2.1.2 for Linux and the Mac OS here. So where to get these desktop clients? We are now, the client's name is called SSH proxy instead of previous sshproxy.sh. It can be available here, forallnurse.gov. This is a science gateway. So we put the binaries for different OS and the different architecture. This is Intel-based, this is ARM-based processor. And also, we provided both dynamically linked binary and the statically linked binary. So if you run some problem when you use a dynamically linked binary, because GNU C library glibc version is not compatible, then try to use the statically linked binary. This feature is built with the what they call the muscle libc. Okay, so it's a different version. So you can try this, and if it doesn't work, then try this. And if all fails, then you can go back to version 1. But let us know so that we can help. By the way, the version 1 is still available in the legacy directory. So there are some useful options here. -H is to list the help page. -U is to use a different username. O is for different to use a different name for key file. And -K is store in a different directory. -C is to use a collab account, etc. So let me just show you here. Here, for instance, so I'm using Mac. So version is 2.1.2. So you see this kind of example. So let's try. This is a federated ID, right? As you can see. So I got either successful. So you create a new SSH, the SSH keys here. I can also, let me just here. If your project has the collaboratory the account, you can do that. -C. My collab account is this one. You can do that as well. You can also log in. Okay. So, so this is the key files for my account. This is for the test account, collab account here. So using that, I can get into NERSC perimeter without entering password. You can do it as many times as you want, right? Okay, let's go back to here. And we also we also have a version for Windows, but we haven't released yet because we need to work on certain things. So version 2 also supports federated ID like this, and this will be available in the same web page. And version 1, so for the time being, you have to use the version 1, which is in the legacy directory. So the big change here is that by default, this downloads open SSH keys, NERSC.pub, NERSC.certpub, just like Linux and the macOS client version. To get the party key, which was a default, the key with the version 1, we have to use a minus P option here. The reason why we do that is ThinLink, VS Code, and other tools support the open SSH keys here. So I think that this is the right change to make here. And also another thing is that all keys are now saved in this directory. Okay, so if you want to change it to save in a different directory, you can use a -K flag. Again, we recommend to use OpenSSH or PuTTY. This is a lot easier, and you use a SSH command like that, or SCP command like that. You basically use the similar config file. Let me show quickly. Okay. So you can basically type command prompt, or if you use PowerShell, you can use a PowerShell as well. It works in both places. So let me just see. I think I'm using Elvis here. Elvis. Where is this one here? Yes, I got in. So I have these files downloaded here. So with that, I created the configuration like that, right? And then with that, I can so you can have passwordless SSH like this. Take some time here. Also, if you want, you can use a VS Code to connect to the here and see. Let me, I think that this one. Yeah. So it is using the OpenSSH keys here, and also you can actually you can access the compute node if you want. Right. So I can go to this node from here. So NID 200027. It's Linux. Yeah. I really barely know about this thing. So for instance here, So like this here. So anyway, you can you should use the OpenSSH here. That's what I'm trying to say. So try OpenSSH. That is a lot more convenient than the PuTTY. So PuTTY works as well. So use these configurations. So for more information, you can read these pages and yeah. Is there any questions?
Awesome. Did we have any questions for Wusan? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Wusan.
Yeah. Let me get out there. How can I get? Yep.
Okay, awesome. So with that in mind, we can just continue on to Nick, who's going to do a demo on ThinLink for us. Nick, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'm Nick. I'm in our data and AI services here at NERSC. And recently we've went and set up a new way to get virtual desktops at NERSC called ThinLink. And so this is usually a way if you want to run like GUI applications or you want to keep terminal sessions open between logging in and logging out, you can go and get these terminal sessions with this virtual desktop. So we have some stuff on our docs on how to connect. And so one of those ways that we can connect, so going to our docs, connecting to NERSC, one of those ways to connect is with ThinLink. So I'm going to kind of just go through, landing on this page and getting, so for the first thing that we'll need to do is install the client. So I'll go and open up a new tab, come over here and get the right installation for me. So I'm on a Mac at the moment, so I'm going to download the new client. And it's right here. And then that's in my downloads here. So I'll just click on that. And it should show up on your desktop as this little icon. And you can just drag that into there. Yeah, I'll just replace it. We've had some issues with people not seeing this. I think it's some settings in specific settings in Mac OS that sometimes you don't see that little icon. But one good way to go and find that is to open up one of these Finder windows. And then over here on the left-hand side, will show all of the things that you have connected. And so one of those things should be, if you've clicked on that little link, you should see this, and you can do the same thing of dragging that over. So I'll go back to our docs. And so now we need to go and configure ThinLink to be able to connect to NERSC. So I'll open up here, ThinLink, my ThinLink client. And right now there's nothing kind of populated in there. So the first thing that we want to do is we're not going to use our password to authenticate here. We're going to use our SSH keys. So there's some description in here on how to go and access that. So we go to our options, security, and we're going to use public key. So options, security, public key. And then we're going to go through and enter our correct connection details. So our server is going to be thinlink.nersc.gov. Type in your username. My username happens to be the same on my laptop and at NERSC. And then the important part is going to be the path to your SSH key. It defaults, ThinLink will default to try and use ID RSA. but we're going to want to change that to NERSC, and that this is the NERSC key that I just got with SSH proxy that Woosan just showed off. So once I've configured properly, all I need to do is hit connect. And it'll start me up a new desktop. So I already had a desktop that was actually open. So it kind of popped up instantly. Sometimes if you're getting a new desktop, it might just show a blank screen for a few seconds. But once you've gotten your desktop session, it's really quick to get back onto this. So our desktops are pretty simple. We don't have many buttons. There's kind of a disconnect from ThinLink session. So this will just go and close my session, but it doesn't log me out of that virtual desktop. So if I go back to ThinLink and log back in, it will get me back to that same session. My mouse is even in the same place there. If you do think that you're having problems or something with your desktop, then you can log out. The logout will actually shut down that full desktop, and then when you log back in, it'll give you a fresh, clean new desktop. The other two options that we have on the desktop are just links to open up a terminal at Perlmutter, and this will get you a terminal at Perlmutter, or options to open up a terminal on the DTNs. And then, like I said, this is usually a good way to go and open up one of these terminals and leave it open in between logging out, log back in. So let's say I have a process started on here. I'm looking at some process here. I'd be able to disconnect from there, maybe close my laptop, go home, and then if I need to go reconnect, I can open up my ThinLink client again, connect, wait a few seconds, and then we'll see that my process is still running there. So this is a really great way. If you have some process that you want to keep open, you can keep that open in a terminal session through ThinLink like this. The other thing that's usually very popular with this is using applications with GUIs like MATLAB. So I just loaded MATLAB, and I'm going to run MATLAB. And so this will open up the GUI. Instead of going to your laptop directly, it's going to go to a GUI that's sitting on this desktop. And so a lot of times this is going to be a lot more responsive because instead of having to send the entire application over the internet to your local system, it's just sending this video basically back and forth to the system. So that's kind of it. Are there any questions for me? Any questions about using ThinLink? Great.
Have you had any, since we've rolled it out, have there been any common user problems that you've noticed, like through tickets or whatnot?
I think the most common one we've had is with connecting, because it defaults to that ID RSA as the key, just making sure that you change that to NERSC for your key. And then we've had a little bit of trouble. There's one or two applications, like GUI applications, that we're still trying to figure out how to get them to work. All of the ones that we support, so MATLAB, Mathematica, IDL, all of those GUIs work. But if you have your own application that you've built with a GUI, we found that there might be some problems, but we're looking into fixing those.
Okay. And it looks like we do have one user with
Yeah.
a
Do
question.
you have a question?
Yashika.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I am actually trying to access ThinLink from within Oak Ridge network, ORNL network, and I'm unable to do so. So is there anything to work around the proxy command with ThinLink? I mean, that's what we use. That's how we use a terminal to access Perlmutter by using a proxy command. And can we do something similar with ThinLink?
I don't know of anything at the moment. It seems like maybe it would be good to talk with Oak Ridge about allowing that through. It seems like they should be able to open up a connection to the outside from that. So it might be good to check with them.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I'll just jump in. It would be really helpful to have some general proxy instructions or to have ThinLink expand their capabilities, because obviously getting a firewall change in place at any organization is a major challenge.
Right, I get that, but usually outbound connections are pretty easy. It's the inbound connections for firewalls that tend to be harder. And this is an outbound connection, just an SSH connection.
Yeah, if we can redirect their shush through our proxy, that will work, but we'll have to know how to configure ThinLink.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can look into it.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Great.
Do we have any other questions for Nick? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nick,
Yeah.
for presenting on ThinLink, and also to Woo-san. The only other thing that we do have to share is just a couple of calls for participation that are pertinent for everyone. So please keep in mind that a few nominations and calls for participation. These are all available in the weekly email as well. Nominations for the George Michael Memorial HBC Fellowship are open through May 1, as well as calls for submissions for the USRSC 2025 conference in the United States. Calls are open for all except for posters through May 2nd, and then posters are due July 20th. And then we also have a call for proposals for AI for science that are open through through April 15th for any proposals that are looking to leverage Perlmutter to push the start the state of the art in AI for science and produce novel science outcomes. And then we also have a couple of training opportunities coming up. Apply for the June Deep Learning for Science School by March 31st, which is Monday, as well as the Nurse in Ways to GPU Programming Bootcamp, which will be occurring from April 30th through May 2nd. Did anyone else have any calls or things that they wanted to share while we're all here? Okay, well, if not, thank you all for joining us for this month's NUG community call. Please stay tuned for a number of NUG events that we'll be having in April for Graduate Student Appreciation Month. And we hope that your March is ending on a great note and you're ready for an exciting April and spring. All right, have a great day, everybody. Thank you for attending.